The Octagon, a proving ground where legends are forged and legacies are broken. In August 2025, a rumor tore through the MMA world like wildfire. Conor McGregor, the sport's biggest star, had been erased from the UFC roster. Fans froze. Social media exploded. Could the man who redefined the fight game really be gone? Then came the voice of Dana White, sharp and unyielding, cutting through the chaos with two words: total bullshit. This is the story of a rumor that shook the UFC, a fighter's unrelenting hunger for redemption, and a historic White House fight card that could mark the return of the Notorious, Conor McGregor. August 14th, 2025. The MMA world is already buzzing. UFC 319 looms, headlined by Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev battling for middleweight gold. But a different storm brews online. A post from a roster tracking account claims Conor McGregor, the former two-division champion, has been removed from the UFC's active roster. The news spreads like a virus. Fans flood comment sections, demanding answers. Could McGregor, the man who carried the UFC to new heights, really be cut? The implication is seismic. Removal from the roster typically means a fighter is retired or released. For a figure like McGregor, it's unthinkable. Yet the whispers grow louder, fueled by his 4-year absence from the cage and a string of controversies that have kept him in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. Conor McGregor's story is the stuff of legend. Born in Dublin, Ireland, he rose from a plumber's apprentice to the UFC's brightest star. His 2015 knockout of Jose Aldo in 13 seconds claimed the featherweight title and cemented his mystique. A year later, he became the first UFC fighter to hold titles in 2 divisions, outclassing Eddie Alvarez for the lightweight belt. His brash persona, razor-sharp trash talk, and devastating left hand made him a global icon. But the cage hasn't seen him since July 2021, when a gruesome leg break against Dustin Poirier at UFC 264 sidelined him. Since then, McGregor's life has been a whirlwind of ventures and controversies. His proper No. 12 whiskey brand sold for millions. He starred in a Hollywood remake of Roadhouse. But legal battles, civil assault cases in Ireland, and allegations in Miami have cast shadows. His planned return against Michael Chandler at UFC 303 in 2024 fell apart when a toe injury forced him out. To fans, it felt like another false promise. Yet hope flickered. In recent months, McGregor has been vocal about a comeback. Training footage flooded social media, showing him sparring with renewed fire. He re-entered the UFC's drug testing pool, a critical step for any return. Clean tests, he claimed, signaled his readiness. Then came a bombshell from an unlikely source. U.S. President Donald Trump, a longtime friend of UFC President Dana White, announced plans for a UFC event at the White House on July 4, 2026. McGregor pounced, declaring his desire to headline. "I would be honored," he said in a social media post. "Count me in." The MMA world buzzed with the possibility of McGregor's return in a setting as iconic as the man himself. But the roster removal rumor threatened to derail it all. The claim came from an independent tracker, not affiliated with UFC, but one that monitors roster changes via the promotion's official website. When McGregor's name vanished from the active list, speculation ran wild. Was it a failed drug test, a contract dispute, a fallout with the UFC over their new Paramount broadcasting deal? Fans feared the worst, the end of an era. Social media lit up with reactions. One fan wrote, "If Conor's really gone, the UFC just lost its biggest draw." Another was skeptical. "No way Dana cuts him. This has to be a glitch." The rumor gained traction, amplified by the absence of an immediate response from McGregor himself. For a fighter known for his outspokenness, the silence was deafening. If you're watching this and haven't subscribed to MMA Arena yet, hit that button now. We're diving deep into the stories that shaped the fight game, raw, unfiltered, and straight from the cage. Enter Dana White, the UFC's outspoken president. On Thursday, August 14th, 2025, White took to Instagram with a blunt dismissal. Total bullshit. 2 words, no ambiguity. His response was a sledgehammer, crushing the rumor in its tracks. White's history with McGregor is complex, part promoter, part protector, part pragmatist. He's navigated McGregor's highs and lows, from the Aldo knockout to the Khabib Nurmagomedov feud and the chaotic aftermath of UFC 229. White knows McGregor's value, the biggest pay-per-view draw in UFC history, with events like UFC 202 and UFC 229 shattering records, cutting him unthinkable. White's denial wasn't the only clarification. A prominent MMA journalist reached out to McGregor's camp and confirmed the truth. McGregor remains under contract, the journalist reported. He's back in the testing pool, his tests are clean, and it's all systems go. McGregor's team echoed the sentiment, dispelling the rumor as a misunderstanding, possibly a technical glitch in the roster database. The MMA community exhaled, but the episode exposed the fragility of McGregor's status. 4 years out of the cage, with only 1 win since 2016, raises questions. Is the McGregor of old still there, or is he chasing a shadow? The lightweight division, where McGregor made his name, offers context. In 2025, it's a war zone. Islam Makhachev holds the belt, a grappling maestro with an iron grip on the throne. Contenders like Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, and Arman Tsarukyan circle, each with a stylistic nightmare. McGregor's last win, a 40-second TKO of Donald Cerrone in 2020, feels like a lifetime ago. His 1-3 record in his last 4 fights, losses to Poirier twice and Khabib, shows a fighter struggling to reclaim his peak. A return against Chandler, still a possible opponent, would be a litmus test. Chandler's wrestling and power punching could expose McGregor's vulnerabilities, especially his suspect leg post-injury. Picture it, McGregor's precision counter-striking versus Chandler's relentless pressure. Round 1 could be a chess match, with McGregor sniping from range. By round 2, Chandler's takedowns might shift the tide. The White House card, if it happened, would amplify the stakes. The White House event itself is a wild card. Dana White confirmed plans to meet Trump and his daughter Ivanka to finalize the details. It's definitely happening, White told CBS, describing a vision of a fight card unlike any other. The logistics are daunting, security, space, optics, but the symbolism is undeniable. McGregor, a showman who thrives on spectacle, sees it as his stage. "I'm heading to the Oval Office again," he declared at a recent bare-knuckle event, his voice brimming with conviction. White, speaking on a podcast, didn't rule it out but set a clear condition. If he starts getting in shape and stays the course, that's the fight he wants. For McGregor, it's a challenge to prove his commitment, both to White and to the fans who've waited years for his return. Fan reactions to the rumor were a mix of panic and skepticism. Some saw it as a sign of McGregor's decline, pointing to his legal troubles and long layoff. "He's more businessman than fighter now," one fan wrote. Others defended him fiercely. "Conor's the heart of the UFC. Dana would never let him go." Media outlets piled on, with some questioning whether McGregor's star power still justifies his spot. His pay-per-view numbers, 1.8 million buys for UFC 229, 1.6 million for UFC 202, speak for themselves. But the UFC's new Paramount deal shifts revenue away from pay-per-view, potentially reducing McGregor's financial leverage. The game is changing, and McGregor must adapt. McGregor's career arc is a study of contrasts. His rise was meteoric, a 10-fight win streak from 2011 to 2016, including knockouts of Aldo, Chad Mendes, and Alvarez. His charisma turned the UFC into a global juggernaut, with events selling out arenas worldwide. But the fall has been steep. The 2018 loss to Khabib exposed his grappling weaknesses. The Poirier trilogy in 2021 showed a fighter slowed by time and injury. At 37, McGregor faces a ticking clock. The lightweight division is younger, hungrier, and more technical than ever. Can he still compete at the elite level? The answer lies in his discipline, his training, and his ability to silence the doubters. The White House fight, if it materializes, could be McGregor's defining moment. Imagine the scene. July 4, 2026, a ring set against the backdrop of American history. McGregor striding out to Sweet Caroline, the crowd roaring. Across from him, Chandler, pacing like a caged animal. McGregor's left hand, once a sniper's bullet, would need to be razor sharp. Chandler's takedowns, relentless and punishing, could test McGregor's reconstructed leg. The fight would be more than a comeback. It would be a statement, a chance for McGregor to remind the world why he's the biggest name in MMA. But the road to redemption is fraught. McGregor's legal issues, a civil assault ruling in Ireland, and allegations in Miami loom large. His training clips show promise, but sparring is not fighting. The UFC's testing pool is unforgiving, requiring 6 months of clean tests before a return. White's faith in McGregor is tempered with pragmatism. He keeps telling me he wants that fight. We'll see how it plays out. For McGregor, it's not just about making weight or passing tests. It's about proving he's still the fighter who shook the world. The lightweight division's history adds weight to the story. From BJ Penn's dominance to Khabib's reign, it's a division defined by evolution. McGregor's 2016